Gallup has released the first and definitely most expansive study of the LGBT community's presence in American society, and what you have them figuring out after they studied and discussed the topic, asking the simple question: do you personally identify as lesbian, gay, bisexual, or transgender? Asking more than 206,000 Americans across the country. They got more than 1,000 responses from, I believe, 41 out of the 50 states and territories. And the states that they didn't get 1,000, it was because the populations are just low. You don't need as big of a sample size. And what they came back with was that the nationwide average is 3.5%. So 3.5% in this survey answered that yes, they are LGBT. They identify themselves as LGBT.
Yeah, but you do see a huge swing in terms of, what states and
That's
what
right.
type of laws they have in place, and the percentage of people who identify in those states. South Dakota is at like 1.7%.
Right.
Then you have DC up over 10%.
Right.
And then you get your more liberal states who are hovering around 4 or 5%. And then you have the more conservative states who are all dropped below that. Now, this means
just on that note, every state among over 4% has those kinds of laws in place, except for
protectionist laws, right?
Except for South Dakota, right?
Equal protection laws.
Right, exactly. North Dakota was the low one. I think you may have said South, whatever. North Dakota is the low one.
Well, so then South Dakota actually is above 4%, right?
And they don't have those kind of protections in place. So
Interesting. That's fascinating how that plays out. But South Dakota was also one of the ones that had one of the lowest sample sizes.
True.
If you take a look at
DC
it that way.
actually had the lowest. They had the highest percentage rate, above 10%. But that makes logical sense because Virginia is on the low end. They're below the median, and so you're going to have a lot of people from Virginia going to the biggest city in technically that area, and that's DC. And it's the same thing like here in California. If you're gay and you live in a rural place that's not as tolerant, you're going to go to a city like San Francisco, but DC is technically not in Virginia.
Yeah, and the moral of the story is that LGBT communities are, well, maybe not communities, but people who identify as LGBT are spread far and wide throughout the country. This isn't a urban thing. This isn't a psychological thing. This is life, right? And the fact that the states with the low percentages that identify as conservative, you see that people are maybe scared to identify themselves as LGBT,
or leaving,
or leaving, exactly. Which is another point. These people shouldn't be forced to leave their homes because of their sexual orientation.
No, and it makes sense that for economic reasons, for simple economics, states should be more tolerant because people will be less likely to leave for more tolerant states. So this is a groundbreaking thing. For the first time, we have a real concrete sense for how many of our American brothers and sisters identify as gay or lesbian.